Meanwhile, those liberals over at MSNBC, they have been trashing the president's tax plan, but it turns out they shouldn't be. And before we explain why, watch this.
This is something Donald Trump, with all the corruption and all the self-dealing that is swirling around Donald Trump, this tax plan proves that, like autocrats across the world, Donald Trump has perfected the art of the self-deal.
Look at them all out there like lemmings. Are they going to back him on firing Mueller? Look at them. It looks like a North Korean parade.
There's a difference between giving it to the corporations and hoping that the corporations hand them out, and we'll see who else decides to do this, and giving it directly to the American people in the form of larger tax cuts for the individuals, for the middle class, and not just the wealthy or the corporations.
So the effects of the tax bill started to reverberate today as the wealthiest people and the most powerful corporations in this country started almost literally scrambling to figure out how they're going to handle all the money the Republican tax bill just gave them. So when your family's taxes go up because of this bill, you can take comfort in knowing that that's what you're paying for.
You know, instead of attacking the GOP tax bill, maybe these liberal hosts should be thanking President Trump. Here's why. Comcast, the parent company of MSNBC, they've announced that they'll be giving $1,000 bonuses to over 100,000 employees because of the tax bill and the FCC's actions on broadband. So think about that for a moment. Do the numbers add up to the rhetoric? And joining us with reaction, Fox News contributor DeRoy Murdoch, radio talk show host and Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall, and Republican strategist Noel Nickpour. DeRoy, I tell you, you talk about the civil rights industry a lot. This is the liberal media industry selling a narrative. Do the numbers add up when the very employees of Comcast are getting millions of dollars that they will inject into the economy on their own?
We heard from Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi that this money would be going just to the CEOs and the top executives. And the day after this wonderful tax cut plan was passed, we're now finding $1,000 bonuses for 100,000 employees. It's $100 million that will be put into the private economy. And if you're Rachel Maddow or Joe Scarborough, maybe $1,000 is not a lot of money. But think about a cable guy or somebody working a customer service call center, or maybe somebody who's working a secretarial type position. That $1,000 will be quite a bit of money and very much appreciated, particularly this time of year, right before Christmas.
Leslie, good to see you. Is this a Christmas present for America? Come on, I know that the Democrats want to paint this as a disaster. They haven't seen it play out. But to DeRoy's point, to the money going into the economy, some $200 million from AT&T going to employees, $100 million from Comcast. May not matter to the rich elitists, but what about the Americans out there?
No, let's talk about the truth. And the reason the AT&T did this, I know we want to make it altruistic, but it's not. Basically, the reason they did it was a $28 million tax incentive for them this year because they would get screwed next year. In addition, let's talk about the hundreds of jobs that are being taken away from individials, the layoffs that they're having at AT&T, over 600 of them.
But
those
layoffs, are they based on the Trump tax plan?
Illinois.
You're conflating.
By the way, David, neither are from the Trump tax plan. The timing
so why bring
makes
it into the
look
Trump
that way.
tax plan?
They're protecting themselves because of the changes for them as a corporation. They actually will get a better tax break of $28 million more, as opposed to they would lose $48 million more if they wait until 2018 versus 2017. So they need to distribute some money, and it makes them look good to say, hey, here are some bonuses. So when you ask, is it a Christmas present, it may appear that way, but that's not the reason. Is it a Christmas present to the poor? Is it a Christmas present to the elderly? Is it a Christmas present to the disabled, or to people that don't make between $300,000 and $700,000 a year or don't itemize their taxes? I would say no.
Right. Well, we know that they don't have to itemize anymore if they're below a certain income level when you look at the details. But Noel, according to Leslie, AT&T just spent $200 million to cover $28 million. I'm not following the numbers here.
You know, first of all, I've got to tell you something. I am really angry. I'm very angry with what the Democrats have done to spin this. Number one, let's just look at corporation CEOs. CEO or corporations employ 152 million American people. And I am really tired of the media spin that corporation CEOs and corporate America is evil. They supply us with jobs. They're not evil. And the last time I checked, both Democrats and Republicans they own corporations. And the other thing that I'd like to say, which is just very irritating for me, is the fact that, you know, this tax cut really amplifies what Donald Trump is trying to do. He got elected on the backs of the working man because the Democrats weren't representing them. And he turned, you know, blue states into red states. Look at the ones that he won. And he has made good on that promise. They are going to see money in their paychecks. And these corporations that are getting these tax cuts, they are giving back to their employees. So they're not evildoers. So nice try for the Democrats' narrative to spin it to where, you know, the corporations are big fat cats and they're taking home a bunch of cash. They're giving it down to their employees. And there may be one or two bad actors that Leslie can maybe, you know, trump me on, but the majority, these guys, these women and men that are CEOs of American corporations, they are giving it back.
All right, so DeRoy, let's do some numbers here, and I like the fact that when you look at some of the things, we've got doubling the standard deduction, $12,000 if you're single, $18,000, I like that addition if you're a single parent, and $24,000. That means if you're a household under that $40,000, under that $50,000, you've suddenly got more of your money to use. On top of that, the child tax credit, big Democrat talking point, that has been increased, and another category for over 17 has been added of $500. So do the numbers match Leslie's narrative?
They don't. This is money people won't be able to keep in their pockets. In addition to that, if you used to pay the penalty for not having Obamacare, that's gone. Obamacare basically is voluntary now. If you want Obamacare, you can have it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to have it any longer. There's something called 529 plan, which is going to let people put money aside if they're putting their kids through K through 12, a private school, parochial school, what have you. That's a fantastic thing that Ted Cruz put in, which is going to be very helpful, probably the biggest boost for school choice in decades, I'm sure. And as for whatever AT&T's motives are, it's very interesting. AT&T may figure they're getting some kind of a special benefit from giving this bonus to their employees. But what about Comcast, Sinclair, Wells Fargo, Fifth Third Bank? I don't think they're all the same. All these other people. So whatever AT&T's motives might be, it's very interesting that these other major corporations are giving these bonuses, putting money into worker education, committing to spend more money on production, on constructing facilities. And this is just within 48 hours of passage and just a few hours of this bill being signed. I think next year is going to be a boom year for this economy. It's going to grow like crazy. And the party of no, the Democrats who said no to this, no to all of these benefits, will have real trouble next November going before the voters and saying, as people enjoy these very beneficial things, that, gee, we didn't step up and allow you to have that. They voted no against all of these benefits. Shame on them.
So, Leslie, let me take this to you. Democrats always talk about, let's give a tax break to the poor, right? Let's give a tax break to those people on the lower rungs of the income ladder. In this is the repeal of the Obamacare mandate. 80% of the people, according to the IRS, who are taxed by the Obamacare mandate make under $50,000. Wouldn't Democrats be on board with this? After all, these people don't make much, and now they don't have to pay an onerous tax.
David, no, and I'll tell you why, and I'm glad that you asked me that, because, you know, this is one of my pet peeves, is the health care side of things. One of the reasons that both Democrats and Republicans felt that we as a nation had a need for reformation wasn't just the numbers, and I know everybody likes to look at the numbers, but let's look at different numbers, not the economy. Let's look at pure numbers of how many sick versus how many people to treat those sick. There are hospitals that have been closing throughout the United States because the emergency rooms have just been bombarded because people didn't have insurance
Leslie,
to
you're
take care
going
of
off, and I got to get Nicole in here. You're
no,
going
I'm not,
off the
David.
tax
I'm answering
plan.
your.
No, you're
I am
not.
not.
Nicole, I got to give you the last 15 seconds. No, you're going off to try and sell it. Go ahead, Nicole.
No,
give me
I'm
the
not.
last 15
I'm answering
seconds.
your question,
I love
David.
you, Leslie. Noel, go ahead.
All right. Well, you know, the bottom line is this, and I know Leslie's complaining, but here's the thing. The Democrats actually had a shot to get some things that they needed because, you know, remember, at a certain time, we weren't sure if we had enough Republican votes. And here are the Democrats sitting here in a big cluster, and nobody really came forward to see if they could get some things in the bill to maybe help and vote for it. So they didn't participate. So it's really kind of unusual that they're sitting here, you know, upset about it and, you know, crying over spilt milk, so to speak, when they didn't do anything for the process to get anything that they want.
Well, you know what? Now they can cry over spilled eggnog, Leslie. You know I love you. Merry Christmas to you and I love your mom. She's a great lady.
I'm not crying at all.
DeRoy and Noel.
She's
great
in the
to
next
see you.
room, David.
There you go. Go to the Democrats out there. Go cry in your eggnog. It's Christmas season. We'll keep the spill milk. Coming up, there's new information tonight on two big scandals. We'll tell what action Attorney General Jeff Sessions is taking following reports that the Obama administration gave a free pass to a terrorist group. Also, we're learning more details about the FBI's potential role in sharing the anti-Trump dossier with the media. Stay with us.